What Remains of Edith Finch is a very, very strange game. I'm Dan. I'm here with my friend Steve.
Hello.
And we recently played this specific game. I played it the day before last. You played it yesterday. Mm-hmm. It's from the developer of Giant Sparrow. They've been making this game for like 5 years. The last game they put out was the unfinished Swan.
Yeah.
Did you play that at all?
Yeah, I played a little bit of it. Enjoyed it. But I had a bit of an issue with it, didn't I? I think you were there on one of the days when I think it kept falling through the earth and...
Yeah, you played it on the PS4, right?
I did, yeah.
So I did a review of it way back in the day when it came out on PS3. I actually really liked it. It was one of my favourite games of that year. And I've been looking forward to their new game ever since, but everything it's been so like minimalistic of what they've showed. Just a couple of trailers like once a year, if that. And it's just, I've never really known exactly what this game is about, but I've also at the same time been trying to stay away from it because I don't want to know too much, I guess.
Yeah.
I was not expecting it to be what it was. I was expecting it to be a lot more puzzle heavy. I like these style games where they get this like bad connotation of like they're walking simulators. I like them if there's like a bit of pace to them, there's like an interesting story, and there's maybe some interesting quirks and mechanics. And I feel like this game has got some interesting mechanics. It changes all the time. Unlike other games like Gone Home or Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. I enjoyed those games for the story, but I felt like going around was just slow. Everything about it was, there was literally just walking around and you just listen to the story, that's it. Just walking from place to place. Gameplay wise, it's just, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
I feel like this game is like in between the unfinished Swan and those games where a lot of text, there's a lot of walking around, finding what's going on, but there's also some different like gameplay mechanics all the time.
Yeah, I think it probably leans a little bit closer to the Everybody's Gone to the Rapture and all that jazz.
Yeah.
More than the unfinished Swan, but I can see what you mean. It's kind of falls between those two kind of gaming styles, where there's a little bit more things to do on it, as you said, on the unfinished Swan, and then there's more of kind of like a walking simulator like Everybody's Gone to Rapture.
We're going to keep the first part of this video spoiler free for people who do want to play the game or maybe haven't finished it. Well, I say haven't finished it. The game's an hour and a half long. For me, that's like maybe one of the biggest problems with it is that technically you're playing as Edith Finch in 2016, and you're going back to this house you grew up in when you were a child, and all these family members previously lived there, but they all died in different years and different eras, and you're trying to find out why.
So in quite a unique way.
Yeah, and so you're going through these different rooms and you read through different diaries, and each diary entry is essentially like a portal to their like time period and seeing, I guess, how they died, because you know that they all died at different ages because you see their date of birth and date of death. The way that you experience the way they died essentially is really trippy. And I guess we'll maybe go into that in the sort of spoiler part at the end of the video, where we'll mention it when it's actually the spoilers.
No. I think an hour and a half is perfect for me. Maybe a little bit less.
Yeah, I know what you mean, because I know you didn't enjoy it anywhere near as much as I did.
Yeah, I think we're different kind of gaming styles, but it wasn't my cup of tea. But I finished it, but I don't think I would have finished it if you didn't tell me there was 10, 15, 20 minutes left.
Yeah.
I think I would have went, no, sod this.
I remember you got to a certain section and you were like, this is getting boring.
Yeah.
It wasn't really explaining itself directly.
No.
My biggest problem with it is with these characters is that they really only last for about 15 minutes, maybe less than that. Some last like about a minute to 2 minutes.
I was about to say, because one or two of them, like, you can get through in about a minute at max.
And then others can last up to 15 minutes. But the problem is that as soon as you get to know these characters and their situations, obviously you know that they're related some way to the main character. They're dead. Yeah. Or the sequence finishes. And that's not a spoiler, because you see it right from the beginning when you press start and you see this like family tree that she's filling out one by one. And you see their deaths times on there. There was some cool, interesting gameplay quirks about it that I liked, like how 1 minute you're jumping on the trees as a cat, trying to catch a bird.
That one kind of caught me off guard. That one did.
Yeah,
I must admit, I didn't see that one coming.
That's the first one you see, like the first like sort of diary entry you go into. Then other ones maybe later on, you're a baby in a bathtub. I know you actually enjoyed that sequence.
I thought it's a bit weird, but I thought that was one of the more funnier ones. But I think there was a couple of decent ones. There was a hunting scene. That was quite a good one.
Yeah.
And then there was some where you just think they struggled to make it work. There's one where someone's underground for some time. Yeah. And that one there, it kind of finished on a very poor way. It finishes. That
very abrupt.
Yeah, and that section was very pointless. And you go repetitively at the start of that section, and then you get out of that location, and then it, as you said, it abruptly finishes. And it's just like, oh, well, that was rather pointless. At least with some of the other ones, like the one with the hunter and that lot, there was a bit more different aspects, like photographing stuff, and it was just a bit more kind of cinematically nicer to watch. But no, I agree with you. I think it's hit and miss a little bit on some of those sections.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is there anything else you want to add actually about the game itself to summarise, like non-spoilery, before we go to the...
No, I think realistically, I think it's got to be given its dues on the graphics and the amount of content like in each room. And that I know know it's not a massive area that they've had to animate and so on, but there's a lot of detail in it.
There is. There's a lot of attention to detail for stuff.
Yeah, and you've got to give them the dues to that. It does look good.
Like the way they changed the art style up for one section as well. Like, there's one where you're literally in a comic panel.
Yeah, I like that one.
So they just completely changed the art style for a brief moment, which again reminds me a little bit of Unfinished Swan, where they just completely changed the colour palette. One thing that I think some people with these walking simulators don't like, and I often hate with these games, is where you don't run. You can't run. I know, I understand that a lot of the games you're supposed to take it in and like absorb the environment, but if I want to run, let me run.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
If I want to sit still and walk around, I think that this game, I think actually is okay not having a run button, because there's not any open areas.
Yeah.
So this and Gone Home, there's not really a need for a run button because it's quite a small area. A game like Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, oh my god, that game, you're going across fields that take fucking forever to walk across. And it,
tedious.
Like, yeah, it is tedious. Like me, I remember going through that game trying to get some trophies and stuff, and I was thinking, oh, I can't be arsed. I really cannot be arsed because it takes so long to walk across these fields.
Yeah.
Because they're just big open areas. They look great, but going through them, not fun.
Yeah, I think halfway they've kind of either decided not to put a run button in there, or a sprint button, whatever you want to call it, because is that if you had a run or sprint button in that game, I reckon you could have chalked off another half an hour of the playtime.
Probably.
I think you could have killed that down to probably an hour.
I heard some people saying about 2 hours this game, and I think if you really search in every nook and cranny, I think, yeah, maybe you could stretch it out for 2 hours. I was exploring what I think a considerate amount.
More than me.
And I beat it in an hour and a half, and you beat it in what, hour and 15?
Yeah, felt like a lot longer. But no, yeah, I think it was about an hour 15. But as you know, that I don't really look around at all these.
Yeah.
I will look at bits and bobs of it all, and I'll kind of take a more of a general view. But you'll look at like bloody dates on calendars and pictures of fishes.
That
and
was
stuff like
that was the cool thing I did like about this game, was actually piecing together different time periods of like figuring out, oh, okay, we're in like the calendar says on here now we're in 1947 or something.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of interesting, like how the environment told you more so what the
where
time
you
was.
were and when you were. Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's basically it. There's nothing else for you to add, is there?
No, not at all.
We'll move on to spoilers. I don't know how long this section's going to be, but we're just going to kind of talk about some of the individual sections in general. One of the things I think really got to say is that this game is fucking incredibly depressing.
Oh yeah, massively.
The way that it starts off, that you're Edith trying to find out about your dead ancestors. Oh, and by the way, right at the beginning it turns out that you weren't Edith, you're actually her son. That's why it's called What Remains of Edith Finch, because it's like what is remains of her is just her diary.
Yeah.
I think that was a cool little callback, because
Yeah,
I thought it was a little subtle nod where she was jumping across the trees and she's like, oh, I can't believe I'm doing this 22 weeks pregnant or something.
Yeah, it was about that. She did say that. Yeah, you're right.
And you're just like, I like that sort of subtle storytelling that, oh, well, hang on, I didn't even like consider it because she's like 17. Like, didn't even consider that she's pregnant.
No, I know what you mean. You don't have that consideration because like literally 4 minutes later she's a cat.
Well, that she wasn't a cat, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, you know what I mean, yeah.
I want to actually go through each individual character just very specifically. Run through them. So, Molly, she's a little girl. How does she die? Because every character in this story dies.
Is she the one with the owl?
And we saw at the beginning when we played as her character at the beginning, I only noticed on your playthrough, not mine, where if you look at her bed, you can see that
she looks like she's already in there.
Yeah, so she's having an out-of-body experience, clearly.
Yeah.
So when she's going around, she's hungry. I don't understand what...
Maybe she starves to death.
Maybe, but then, like, why would her mum do that? Like, why would she starve her? Like, because that is actually the grandmother, is her mother.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah?
yeah. You might be right.
So I just don't understand where the fuck she's coming from on that part. That's really bizarre. It's a cool gameplay-wise where you're going, like, now you're a fucking shark.
Yeah, I struggled with that, as you saw my facial expressions when you were watching me play it.
Yeah.
Every time it changed, I was like, what the fuck is going on and why am I not playing FIFA? But, no, yeah, it was...
That's one of the ones I'm still really lost on and confused at, like, the whole concept of the fact that there's these rooms that are locked up, never to be touched again. Really weird, especially when you can go in there and this room hasn't been touched for supposedly 60 years and it looks like it's been left how it was.
In situ, yeah.
There's no dust, there's nothing decaying, everything looks exactly... In fact, I swear you even find, like, bits of food. I could be wrong.
Yeah, you might be.
And it's just like, I don't know what this thing is maybe trying to tell you, if it's some weird, just psychedelic thing that isn't actually... It's just maybe a locked memories thing rather than an actual house. Like, I don't know. It made me think too deep into it now, I don't know. The next one, Barbara the movie star, the child star, should I say, where she like...
Oh, that was right, that was a comic book one.
Yeah, there was a comic. I like
right,
that. And then it kind of finishes where she had, like, in the comic book, because she says at the beginning, Edith, when she's reading it, she's like, oh, this is exaggerated, apparently. Like, Edie said it was an exaggeration of her life.
Yeah.
So it confused me. So then how does she die? Because in the comic, she dies from the monsters that scare her as a surprise, but it turns out they're actually real monsters. the police just found the remains of her ear.
Yeah, I thought it was all good. It was all good until that last minute maybe of the comic book when I thought it lost a little bit.
Yeah.
Before that, it was like, oh, that's cool. That's quite quirky. You thought you'd being chased by a killer and all that. Like, then in the end, it turned out to be some sort of surprise party or some form.
Yeah, and then it turns out that the monsters are actually real monsters.
And then they're going, yeah, pretty much go and fucking eat her.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah.
That was weird. I don't. So how she actually dies, I don't fucking know.
No.
Next one, Calvin. Okay, so he's one of the twins when you're on the swing and you're swinging around and you swing
flew into the water.
Maybe they understand, like, okay, so he probably swung off and fell off the cliff, but at the same time, who the fuck designs a swing like that on the edge of a cliff for kids to swing on?
Yeah,
and you can swing right around and you get stuck at the top.
Yeah,
and
literally, you get stuck upside down. It's like, and you come back perfectly down. It's like,
and the chains are like as if they're made out of like solid, like solid metal rather than actual chain.
It was a bit weird, but it's a short one.
Because I was sort of telling you the controls, I got stuck on that bit actually. I didn't know how the fuck to control the swing. I didn't realise that the individual analog sticks were
each
leg, and I was just pressing the left analog stick, so just one leg's going backwards and forwards. That's a weird one. Walter, the bloke who was under the house in a bunker for 30 years.
Shit, absolute shit.
I know you hated that one. I don't get that one either.
You opened 4 cans of fucking melon. You ate
peaches,
and then after doing that 4 times, you go upstairs, you walk for about 30 seconds, and then you hear choo choo, and you get hit by a fucking train. What the fuck? Literally, very, very poor. I really didn't enjoy that one. I thought that was just pointless.
The context of it, like, what the fuck? This guy was under there for 30 years in the house.
Yeah.
There's actually, you can find books around the house that says that there's reports of a man living under the house secretly, but no one's found him. So I don't know, like, why Edie, the grandmother, knew about him, because you actually hear that she's carrying down. She's always locked the basement.
Yeah.
And she carries down boxes and stuff, and Edith as a kid's like, well, I don't know why she's taking boxes down, but that's because her uncle is down there. Why? Also, you see at the beginning of it, which is like 1967 or something, where it's all shaking, like as if it's been hit by a bomb. I don't understand that either, because I thought at first maybe it was actually in the 40s, it was World War II or something, but even then, like, this is set in America, so they're not getting bombed. Another one really confused me. Gregory, the baby in the bathtub.
I really enjoyed that. I thought it was funny.
It was. At this point in the story, you sort of realise that you know that you're playing the end of these characters' lives.
Yeah, I didn't think he was going to die, personally. I thought it was a little bit
dark.
Yeah, it was dark.
So that you're playing as this baby, and then you, like, sort of push the tap back on to drown the baby, and then you swim around inside the bathtub, and then you go through the hole, and it's like the lights.
He's going towards the light. It's like, oh, fucking hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah.
Kind of gaming style bit, because you were like messing around like a little frog, and you had the little ducks, and it was quite inventive, but it was a shame it was a bit of a dark ending to it.
There was one that you actually missed in your playthroughs called Gus, which was the kite surfing one. You didn't see it, but you're controlling a kite, and you're like on the edge of a cliff at a wedding, and you move this kite around, and you're collecting the words in the air. It's actually kind of cool. Everyone goes inside, and then the dad says to go inside, and you basically put your middle finger up to say, like, fuck off, I don't do what I want. The wind keeps whipping up, and the tent, like, comes from the wind and hits you, and then that's it.
Game over for Gus.
Game over for Gus. Again, another fucking, like, underage kid that gets killed. Like, this game just likes killing kids, yeah.
Nice.
What we got next, we've got Dawn, which is the mum of Edith. She takes Edith away towards the end of the game because of her brothers that died, which I guess we'll get to in a sec. And then apparently dies of cancer or something, because there's that really touching moment.
Yeah, you put your hand out, yeah.
And it's just like, oh, that's actually fucking depressing. It was bad enough that I sort of psychologically watched, but didn't watch, a baby die, and a bunch of kids die on a swing and stuff like this. But then you actually watch the way that you move the hand to touch her hand, and then you sort of grab, and then it's just
well,
like...
I didn't. I just kept pulling it away.
Oh, yeah,
at the last second. I was like,
Psych.
Are you going to get my hand? No, yeah, that was again dark.
There's Milton, brother of Edith, who disappears. I thought this is one of my favourite parts of the entire game, if not my favourite, was where you go up and it's basically an unfinished swan reference. Milton, her brother, is like, his little bedroom is the unfinished swan. It's all like painted like white and stuff, and then you see his little flip book.
That wasn't really like...
I could be misinterpreting this, but to me it seems like Milton was the artist and the creator of Unfinished Swan in this game as well. So the Unfinished Swan that you played was a storybook that this Milton wrote as a kid.
Okay.
Even the music is the Unfinished Swan music, and I thought that was really good. I love the Unfinished Swan, like I said earlier. I think that was a really cool, interesting callback to that game.
Yeah, I must admit, I said to you, the Unfinished Swan is unfinished to me.
Fittingly.
Yeah, I didn't really take much out of it. I just took it of walking up a couple of ladders and watching this kid can't remember what he did in the end. I think he looked for a telescope or something. He did something, didn't he, up the top?
Apparently he goes missing. That's the only thing you know about that kid, the Milton. He just goes missing. In fact, right at the beginning of the game, you see posters all like scattered across the floor. All these missing posters all across the floor, and it says missing Milton. And I noticed that when I was watching your playthrough. I was like, oh shit! I didn't point it out to you because I didn't want to say anything. Oh, there's the other one, other brother Lewis, the drug user, which was I thought was a cool concept gameplay wise, where you're controlling the monotony of him in the cannery with the fish chopping. With one hand, and then controlling him in this world as another. But again, incredibly dark, because as soon as you walk up to get crowned, in his world, you know that he's been lost in his mind, and I remember seeing looking up, it's like, that's a guillotine. Yeah. It's a guillotine. He's gonna get his head cut off.
Yeah, it's so obvious. That sort of like bit was good for a couple minutes, but then it got pretty annoying and boring kind of thing. You were kind of cutting off heads of fishes, and you were trying to control the little person going through the map or the maze with the left analog stick, and you were trying to kill the fish with the right analog stick, and it's just, oh god, and it gets a little bit tedious. It did, but it was alright for the first couple
I think
minutes.
That was the point of it. I know that. Not saying that that's necessarily makes that gameplay section better. Well, I thought it did, but that was, I think, the point of it was supposed to be tedious and monotonous, repetitive. And
that's why he topped himself.
And he's just gone in this other world. The narrator is like his psychiatrist of that section, and she's like, at the end of it, when you get your head, and I know you know the rest. He was a lovely boy, and he will be missed. And it's just like, fucking hell! Like, he got his head cut off in a cannery. What?
Yeah, so dark.
And then I guess the last one is Edith, which supposedly I think dies in child labour. Like, because right at the end, you're like in this like weird psychedelic moment, and then you you essentially come out, and you're playing as like presumably her son.
Kills her,
and
not dies in pregnancy. She does.
Yeah, in child labour. Yeah. So and then that's how the game ends.
Yeah, it was a very upbeat game.
It was incredibly bizarre. Overall, I guess we'll just kind of finish it off the video now. I enjoyed the experience. I think it was tenner or whatever it was this game cost me. For an hour and a half. If an hour and a half could pay for a film, it could be a tenner. So I don't think the length necessarily is a problem. I just think that the pacing was a little bit off. The psychedelic nature of it wasn't always completely clear. I feel like the actual game itself was less fun to play than the Unfinished Swan.
Yeah.
What is your final thoughts?
Yeah, well, I think you know my kind of final thoughts. I thought the graphics were good.
Yeah.
The speed was very slow for me personally, but it might be other people's kind of game.
I think there's an interesting point of view, because I know some people will look at this game and think, I don't know if this game is for me. If you look at this and think, I don't think this is for me, then it's probably not for you. Because I know, Steve, this isn't really something necessarily for you normally, and it definitely wasn't once you played it.
Just said, I'll try this, and you told me what the game was called. Yeah, it was okay, but it's just so dark. Yeah, and I know that's how it's supposed to come across, and it is that one of those games, but it is so dark and depressing. Yeah, I think we'll finish it there. Stay tuned to Project Falcon Punch soon, because we've got a Mario Kart related video, so that'll be nice and upbeat. Oh, yes. A ranking video of all the Mario Karts. See, there's a Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is out soon. So, yeah, until then, I've been Dan, this has been Steve. Yes. And we'll see you next time.